Hey, good afternoon. This is Coach Bill with Weight Loss Made Easy. Hope everybody's having a great Thursday afternoon today. Cooled off here a little bit in Temecula. Was enjoying the warmer weather, but I guess we got to deal with this for a couple days. Okay, guys, I've got my notes here. I've gone tech here. I'm actually using my PC or my computer with my notes on it. So today's topic. Okay, let's talk about intermittent fasting today, and let's talk about probably one of the most common or easiest intermittent fasting that most people can do because they're basically pretty much already doing it anyway. So the topic today is how to make a 16/8 intermittent fast burn more fast or burn more fat. You see, guys, the way it works is that when you're putting your body into a fasting state for a certain period of time, and it needs to be enough time, then you're actually going to dip into the body fat that you're looking to burn, because that stored body fat, most of you're not even dipping into it, and that's why you're not losing the weight or you're having a hard time losing weight, is because your carbohydrates are too high and your body is going after that for fuel, and it's not even dipping into the body fat. So by putting yourself into a fasting state and you're using up all the carbs that you've consumed, and there's nothing left in the liver to be able to use for energy, then it has to go to another source of energy, and that is what we call fat, stored fat. So you're getting into fat adaptation. Now, those of you that follow me know that we have three very powerful protocols that that our clients use that are doing my 90-day online personal coaching. The first one that we introduce them to is a ketogenic diet, which means it's a higher fat diet. 80% good fat, 15% low protein, and 5% low carbs. Now, the carbs are mostly vegetable carbs. The first 90 days I eliminate fruit and starchy carbs from their meals, because I want them to bring the hormone down that is causing them to store the fat and keep it at a base all the time, because eventually we're going to get into fat adaptation where we're going to actually burn the fat. But the icing on the cake, guys, when you're doing the ketogenic diet, I like to call it the anti-inflammatory diet, because that's what it actually is. It will help you. It'll help you flush out inflammation when you go on the ketogenic diet. It actually is designed for that. But when you're doing the ketogenic diet first, and then you combine it with intermittent fasting, then you're really double dipping into burning fat. But you really want to burn fat and really burn it in a much quicker state, or much faster, and get the results much faster. This is the icing on the cake. Change the type of water you're drinking. Go to hydrogen-rich water. This is the water that we're drinking here, right here. It's hydrogen-rich water. You combine this with your ketogenic meals and your intermittent fasting, and hydrate yourself, and combining this with pink sea salt, you are going to escalate fat burning much faster, because of the structure of the water and how it's able to flush out the toxic chemicals at the cellular level. And so those are my three protocols that we use for our 90-day client. Now, all three of these protocols do have that. They are all science backed. So science is backing the benefits of not only with the weight loss, all three of these protocols do, but they're also benefiting many health or many disease models too. The three protocols are showing the benefits of many disease models and how this helps. Now, basically what we're doing here, guys, is we are actually switching our bodies from burning carbs to burning fat. So most of you, the ones of you that are listening on here who might know somebody that is looking to lose weight, well, that's the object here. The object is to not to burn the carbohydrates that you're eating, but to actually burn that stored fat, because that's what you want to do anyway, right? And so it seems like when I'm working with somebody brand new, or I've talked to somebody or they have questions, fasting seems to be a word that they don't want to hear, because they're relating it to starvation, and that's not what it is. It's you're totally different. Starvation means uncontrolled hunger. Intermittent fasting means controlled eating. That's what it means. So you are eating, but in a certain window. And it seems that for most people's lifestyle, or for most people's schedule out of there, a 16-8 seems to be very easy for them. And what that means is that they're not eating any calories for 16 hours, and they have an eating window of 8 hours. And so they're eating in that window of 8 hours. Example, you may have your last meal at 8 o'clock at night. You're not going to have any calories after that at all. You can have your water with your pink sea salt, and you can have black coffee, or you can have unflavored green tea during that fasting window. And then you're not going to have your next meal until when? Till 10 o'clock the next morning. So that's about 16 hours. Now, most of you are fasting anyway. So those of you that are thinking, well, I can't fast because I'll starve to death. You're fasting anyway, guys. I mean, while you're asleep, are you eating food? No. So during that period of your sleeping, depending on how many hours you sleep, you're not eating any food anyway. So that's basically a mini fast. Well, on a 16-8, if you really want to escalate your fat burning, and if you really want to control the hormone that's causing you to store that fat, then you need to go an extra 2 hours, because most of you probably aren't eating until, 8 o'clock in the morning, maybe 9 o'clock in the morning. So why not just adjust your time eating to where you don't have anything for 16 hours? It's only a couple hours. That's all it is. And pretty soon, because of what your time eating, your body's going to adjust to it. And actually what's going to happen is your body's going to get more fat adapted, which means it's going to actually start burning fat as its primary fuel. And so most of you guys that are probably doing the 16-8, most of you are probably doing three meals. So you're going to have your first meal. You're going to break your fast with your first meal. Now, let me give you, I'll get to that in a minute. So most of you will be breaking your fast at around 10 o'clock, and that'll be your first meal. Your second meal will probably be around 1 or between 12 and 2 o'clock, or somewhere in that range. And then your last meal will be between 5 and 7, somewhere in that range. And that'll be and that's it. So you're consuming about 3 meals a day. A lot of people, what they do is they'll snack in between those meals. And of course, depending on the snacks you're doing is going to depend on if you're going to actually be burning fat, because refined starchy foods and sugars will cause you to jump out of fat burning. So there's a process there. So let's talk about how we can increase the fat burning when you're doing a 16-8 intermittent fasting, which I think most of you can do, even those of you that are scared to do it. That's where you want to start. Some of you could even start at 14 hours, calculate it out. But the minimum is 16 hours. And of course, those of you that have done this for a while, or have been doing the 16-8 for a while, you might want to throw in a couple 18 hours. And then when you've been in there for a little bit longer, throw in a 24 hours. Ellie and I do a 30-hour fast every Monday, and then we do a 48-hour fast every month. Because why? Because we want to really dip into our fat burning. But here's number one. This is the number one tip for you guys that are looking to escalate your fat burning if you're doing a 16-8. Okay, so number one is go to what I like to call an anti-inflammatory diet, or most of you know it as a ketogenic diet. Science has shown that this is to be the best way to get your body into a fat burning mode, or what we like to call it ketosis. Now, I'm not going to get involved in what ketosis is, but when you have changed your body, when you've switched your body from burning those carbs that you've been eating for so many years so often, and actually burn fat, I mean actually dip into your fat, then you are switching over to the body fat that you're storing and that you're actually going to be burning. Now, I'm going to say this one more time. Those of you that are having a hard time are struggling to lose that weight because you have an imbalanced hormone, which is called insulin. And insulin is designed to store fat. What you're doing is you've lost control of it. And so because of that, you're actually going to store fat. So you have to switch. Now, one thing about being in ketosis, guys, is that you can't do it overnight. You have to actually train your body to switch from all those sugars that you've been using to drive your body every day. You have to switch it from that to burning fat, and that takes time. There are steps you got to go through. Okay, so first thing you want to do is you want to change you want to get off that Western diet, and you want to move into an anti-inflammatory diet or a higher fat diet, which is 80% good fat, 15% low protein. This is not a high protein. This is not a high meat eat diet. It's a low protein, and of course 5% carbs. Okay. Number two. This is a big one, guys. This is a very easy system, or a very easy way to trick the body to feel like it's full. And this is science-backed also. You know, science has been telling us about this for a long time, but the weight loss gurus or the wellness coaches or the personal trainers, whoever, and I guess they just forget about this. But number two is drink water. Now, of course, most of my clients and myself and my wife and my family, we're very particular on what type of water we're drinking, because in today's environment, all bottled water, all alkaline water that are in plastic bottles that you buy at health food stores, all filtered water that are in your refrigerator, all reverse osmosis water that you spent $1,000 or so to put in your sink, are all contaminated. And even your reverse osmosis, guys, there's toxic chemicals where the molecules are so small they're getting past that bladder. So when they tell you it's contaminant free, that's BS. It's not. Okay, so like I say at the very beginning, if you want to really escalate your fat burning and keep it off for a long period of time, very simple way to do that is change the type of water you're drinking to hydrogen-rich water. That is the best water on the planet, and science has already shown it to help people lose weight. So there actually are scientific case studies that are in PubMed, Direct Medical, Medical Gas, and different universities have tested this, to where there's actually medical research in PubMed that they actually did a case study with a certain amount of individuals, by having each one drink 16 ounces of water about a half hour before their meal. And what they discovered in this research is that the ones that drank the 16, now what we do, the protocol that I do, is I add sea salt. Pink sea salt with extra electrolytes to that water to help increase the electrolytes when you're fasting, because that's very important. And also with the pink sea salt and the water, just before you're going to eat, it also is going to help to decrease a hormone that will actually cause you to have an appetite. See, when your insulin hormone is out of control, it's also going to throw the hormone that gives you an appetite all the time out of control. This is one simple way of controlling that. So even, when my clients are doing a prolonged fasting, I tell them constantly, if you feel any hunger wave, you're not hungry, most likely you're dehydrated, you're thirsty, have a big glass of water with a 1/4 teaspoon of pink sea salt. It will bring that hormone back down to base. Okay, so what you're doing here with the water is a half hour or 45 minutes before each meal, have 16 ounces of water with a 1/4 teaspoon of sea salt to it, and it'll trick your body thinking that it's full. So when you eat that meal, what's going to happen? You're not going to be as hungry, and you're not going to overeat. See, that's the big mistake I'm seeing with people that are doing intermittent fasting, or they're only doing, say, two meals, or they're doing, an 18-hour fast. Is that at each meal they feel like they're not going to eat again, and so they overeat. And so this is going to help you not overeat. And so try it. It actually works great. Okay, so that was number 2, was water. Number 3 is if you're really looking to lose that belly fat or body fat, you really want to try to have most of your meals at home. Now, I'm not saying you shouldn't go out to dinner at all while you're trying to lose that belly fat or body fat. What I'm saying is try to have most of your meals at home, especially if you're doing the ketogenic diet. Well, it doesn't matter what diet you're doing. I mean, obviously, you guys know I'm totally against the Western diet. It doesn't work. It never has worked. But what you're looking at is that you have no control over what that restaurant is putting in their foods. You have no control of how much oil or what type of oil they're using when they cook that food. And so it's very easy that food, most of the time, is going to have hidden carbs. Because remember, when you're on a ketogenic diet and you're staying at low carbs, you're trying to keep your grams down to a certain specific range. We like 30 or less, 30 grams or less. Most of the time when you go out to a restaurant, just that one meal is your whole days of carbohydrates, because of the sauces they put in there, because of the hidden carbohydrates with the spices they're using, or the processed sauces they're using with all these toxic chemicals. And besides, most of them, if they do use healthier oils, they're making your meal with way too much olive oil or whatever. Because for 1 tablespoon of olive oil, I think there's like 100 grams, I think there's 100 calories of fat. I think that's what it is. Well, from what we found, that most places will use 4, 5, 6, 7 tablespoons of oil. I mean, they just pour the oil in like this and stir fry or make whatever. So you could possibly have in that one meal, or no, just in that one portion. It could be vegetables, it could be meat. You could possibly have 500 calories just there. So that whole plate may have way too many calories per sitting. And so you want to try to consume as much of your food at home, so you can control, how much fat or how much carbs or how much protein you're actually eating. A lot of people, they make a mistake when they go out a lot, is they eat too much protein. A male should be 4 to 4.5 ounces per sitting. A female should be 3 to 3.5 ounces per sitting. When you go out to dinner, I don't remember the last time I went out to dinner when I saw somebody a portion of a 4-ounce portion of meat. Most of those meat are up to 8, 12, and 15 ounces. Okay, so number 3 is try to stay home as often as you can and consume your meals. Okay, number 4. Number 4 is your main course meal. Now, when you're doing a 16/8, and you're doing 3 meals, okay? So you're having your first meal at 10 o'clock, you're having your second meal at between 12 and 2 o'clock, and then you're having your last meal at, say, 5 or 6, somewhere in that range. Well, then you're going to have 16 hours of not eating any calories at all. What you want to do, guys, is you want to make sure that last meal has got enough good fat in it. And you want a moderate amount of portions, but you want to make sure you have enough portions there that you have enough calories and enough good fat to carry you through that 16 hours, so you're not going to go through a drastic hunger wave before your first meal. Now remember what I said. When I get up in the morning, I have 2 big glasses, 2 20-ounce glasses of hydrogen-rich water. One of them I use a quarter teaspoon of sea salt, and then I make my coffee with the hydrogen-rich water, and then I'll have 2 cups of coffee. I'm not hungry. I don't get hungry anymore. I have no appetite. When I wake up in the morning, we have no appetite. That's why we're able to go to a 30-hour fast. It's pretty easy for us, standard now. And a 48-hour fast is standard. I don't like to go much longer than 48 hours because we're training and we're more focused now on lean muscle. So I definitely want to be careful of going too far into a fast. But anyway, like I said, the main meal for us and for you needs to be enough good fats on there to carry you over. Most of the time when somebody wakes up in the morning and they're hungry, or if they're really hungry before their first meal, I have found that they just did not add any good fat to it, and their portions were too small or so forth. So just you don't want to stuff yourself. No, you want to eat your portion should be a moderate amount, but with plenty of good fat in it as your last meal. Now, number 5. This is really a factor that I have now. All my clients that are on the 90-day, I got most of them doing. We do what we call a GKI monitoring system. What GKI means is that we're actually testing blood ketones and the blood glucose levels to make sure that they are in ketosis 24 hours a day. Okay, so that's how we're monitoring it. And by doing a ketogenic diet along with the intermittent fasting, then obviously our readings are going to be at the ratio that I want them to be. Now, when I have them, and you guys, when you're doing a GKI, that's a real blood test. It's like going to a doctor's or to a lab, have them drawing blood and then testing that blood. That basically, we have a meter. It's a Mojo combo ketone and glucose meter that you actually you tip your finger like a diabetic does. And so we're actually getting an actual reading telling us that we are in ketosis if we're not in ketosis. Now, this is what I've found so far. Somebody who's doing a 16-8. Now, a 16-8, remember, is minimum intermittent fasting for nutritional ketosis to burn fat. Obviously, if you do an 18 or 20-hour fast 2 or 3 times a week, you're going to burn more fat. But this is for those of you that don't want to do that, or if your schedule won't let you, at least we're still going to be in ketosis. But I have found that if you eliminate snacking between the meals and drink your hydrogen-rich water with your sea salt, if you're thirsty or if you feel a slight hunger wave, go ahead and have some water with some sea salt in it, because that's going to knock it down. Like I said, it's normally a hormone that has been secreted to make you think you're hungry. But if you eliminate snacking completely from in between those meals, you are going to stay deeper in ketosis, and your body is going to be burning more of that stored body fat that you're looking to do anyway. Okay? So those are my 5 tips to help to escalate fat burning when you're doing the minimal 18 or 16-8 intermittent fasting. Like I said, a 16-8 seems to be pretty simple for everybody to do, and you could actually do some changes to that to even make it more, but that's just, most people can handle this. So guys, if those of you that are on Facebook here, go to my YouTube channel, type in Bill Mabry, subscribe to it, hit that bell, and you're going to get some of my other videos, or you can go back and look at some of my other training videos. Those of you that are actually on YouTube, hit that bell, you're going to get it. Now, those of you that might be struggling or having a hard time with intermittent fasting or a ketogenic diet, or you're confused because of all the information on the internet and you're not sure, or you have failed in the past trying to do intermittent fasting and a ketogenic diet, guys, this is the most simplest and the most health way to lose weight. But there is a way to do it. There's a wrong way and there's a right way, and I can guarantee you, those of you that couldn't do it or failed because you did it wrong and you didn't have the right tools or the guidance to make sure that you were doing it right. We all need coaches. Even this guy here, I need a coach. My wife is my coach. And so message me. I'll continue some information about our 90-day online personal coaching. And you will see that when you're given the right tools, and the benefits are amazing. And it's not only about health or about losing weight, guys. It's also about overall health, because all three of the protocols that I'm telling you about here are all three science-backed, and they're therapeutic for many disease models also. And it's just going to be a matter of time before the whole public realizes it, and it's just going to be a matter of time when the medical field finally catches on, because like I said, guys, blood tests don't lie, and that's why we do the GKI monitoring, because that way we have proof that it's working. Okay guys, so hope you saw some value in this. Like I said, message me if you want more information. You guys have a great day, and we'll see you guys at the next video. Have a good one. Bye.